I'll give you guys a second to find this new live. Ugh, what a hassle. Hi, Eni. Sorry about that. I have no idea why my audio or my video wouldn't turn on. Hi. Okay, good. I'm glad people are finding the new stream. I hate when this happens because I always share my links to this and then boom, no one will find me now. Is this a new stream? I don't know. Is it a new stream? I feel like it is. I made a new link, so I don't know if people will be able to get from like my Instagram from here, but good. I'm happy you're seeing me. It is super cold in my house, so I'm sorry I'm like decked out in my winter gear. You made the croissants and they were successful. Oh wait, let me see. Let me find you. Hello, Paula. I'm so glad you guys made it to this stream. Hello from London. Oh, Walden, I'm so glad you found success with that recipe. It's one of my favorites too. I just feel like for the home baker, when you're rolling out by hand, that is a good recipe. Okay, I'm gonna get started since I took a while. Hello, Nina. To figure out why my video wasn't working, and I apologize for that. Let me get my scale. Okay, so if you are part of my newsletter, you got the recipe we're using today. It is just a little bit smaller of a recipe than my recipe on the Macaron 101 video. So if you aren't a subscriber to the newsletter, no worries. You can just go to my Macaron 101 video, and in the description there's the recipe for my base recipe. And I just, however many macarons I want to yield, I'll just do a little bit less egg whites or do a little more, and then you multiply however much you change the factor by all of the ingredients, and you'll get the recipe. You can just switch to whatever yield you want. Hi. Lots of people will ask, can you double this recipe? And yes, macarons are, you can make a macaron in like a big 20-quart mixer. However, the thing you have to worry about is breaking down of your batter. So if you're going to make a huge batch, at least anything above 300 grams of egg whites, I feel like is hard to do in your home kitchen because you have to rest too many macarons for too long. I would not do that, but like Italian method, you might be able to do that. Hi from Miami. But with a commercial grade oven, when you can do tons of sheet trays in one oven at once, you could definitely multiply this by whatever your heart desires. Is there a taste or texture difference between French or Italian or Swiss? You know what, Austin, it's a great question. I feel like it's, every person I talk to has a different opinion on this, but I believe Italian is a little bit less of that initial crunch. For me, when I'm making it, it's softer, like a cake-like, and it's sweeter. With my French method, I get a little more crunch, and they don't get as soft when I mature them. Like my Italian method, I don't really even need to mature. Like I feel like they're soft already. It might just be, you know, I don't know. But Swiss method, I haven't really figured out. I feel like they're very similar to French though. Experimenting and using fresh cold egg whites. Oh good, yeah. I would always just I'd always take them out of my fridge too and go straight from that. I feel like once you have a good rhythm and feel for macarons, having cold egg whites is not that big of a deal. But if you are struggling with your macarons, then take every precaution not necessary. And having room temp eggs and aged egg whites are really nice. I would would like to, let me see what you said. You do not have to change the recipe. No, that's a good recipe. Oh, for Italian. Yeah, you can't just switch the same measurements for Italian because you're going to be adding you're going to have the right consistency for that sugar syrup, and it changes how much sugar, granulated sugar, you're going to use. Hello! Guys, I forgot what I'm doing. I'm making macarons. Let's do it. So we're going to be doing heart-shaped macs. That's it. I want my apron. Where are your ebooks? I will put a link in the description of this video. If you follow me on Instagram, Bake Toujours, there are highlights in my profile that you can click on and just see a little bit more about them, the description about them, and see if you would want to purchase. It's basically, Macaron one is basically the tips and everything I share between equipment, products I use, and everything on this channel, all in one little concise book. So it's nice, but if you've watched all my videos too, you might not find that as beneficial. So it's totally a preference thing. Here I have my egg whites. I'm going to do sugar, and egg white powder is already mixed in. So this is going to be with a hand mixer, because I'm doing 77 grams of egg whites. Anything below 100 grams of egg whites, I usually use my hand mixer. I don't find that I get a nice stiff, sturdy peak in my 6-quart mixing bowl with anything lower than 100 grams. It looks stiff, but it's still like a weak meringue. So that's why I use a hand mixer for smaller batches, and I've got my almond flour and confectioner's sugar sifted already and in here. I have 2 tips prepared for the different sizes of hearts we're going to be making. I sent out, so I had like a little copyright thing, but I don't know, when I made my shapes and text, it must have been formatted wrong, so it never prints with my copyright. But there's this one that I sent out to you guys if you're subscribed to the newsletter. There's this one, which was the original one. It's like a 2-inch. This is a 1.5 inch. And then I gave the 4-inch one that is about the same size as the macaron heart that I just made. So it equals that. So it's the same size as that video I just put out with the macaron heart. So it's about 4 inches. Oh, yes, I really, hopefully that'll help, because I feel like when you mix less than 100 grams in a KitchenAid, it just, it just gets, I don't know, it doesn't look as shiny, it's not as strong and sturdy. It might look stiff, but it looks a little bit, that's the best description I have with all my beautiful words. What tips? So I'm going to be using a 6mm tip and a 9mm tip today. So 2 different size tips to show you guys different ways that we can pipe all of these things. I feel like the 9mm tip, the little bit bigger tip, is good and versatile for all of the shapes. And I'll show you guys that you can use a big tip for them, but you just have to be super careful because you lack control when you have so much batter coming out at once. So you have to go slow. So in the end, it might be better to use a small tip. However, I personally don't like a crunchy macaron. I don't like a super thin macaron when I'm eating it. So I always fear when I use a super small tip that I'm going to make it too thin altogether. So just be careful not to drag the batter and make it too thin of a batter, if that makes sense. I'll tell you more when we get started. Happy New Year. Hi, Jen. Okay. Yay, new kitchen scale. All right, I am so unable to focus. Let's start. So we have done this many a times, and if it's your first live, maybe you've seen another video and you know. So I'm not gonna really talk while I have this loud KitchenAid mixer on, but I will start from, it only has 3 speeds on this bad boy, so I'm gonna start on the lowest and move to the medium, and maybe at the very end, I will put it up to the last one if I'm feeling like I'm losing patience. But sometimes I'll just stay on that second speed to finish off to a stiff peak. Someone said I look cozy, and oh, I got my glasses on. I was saying our heater isn't working properly, but now that I started the live, I'm sweating, so I'm like, do I need to take some layers off? All right, let's get started on our batter, and then we'll make our hearts. Ooh, I forgot color-wise. I was thinking we could do the tip of the marbling, so I was thinking a pink. We're gonna do Chef Master deep pink, AmeriColor red, and then if I have it, AmeriColor Regal purple, but I don't know if there's any left in there. But I'll just kind of swirl those colors in one batter so I don't have to use a whole bunch of different, bags and tips, and I just want to do one marble color heart. Okay, the story behind my name. So it's bake toujours, which means always or consistently. So I'm baking always, and it's just sort of the hybrid of my French training, but my American taste buds, and just kind of putting those together. So that's my name. I'm so glad you could join today too. Oh, thank you. I feel like, thank you. My eggs are foamy. I'm gonna start putting in my sugar. Let me see if I can get you guys at a better angle. Messed up on that. I'm just sprinkling it in and letting it dissolve, and then sprinkling more in. I'm sorry you guys are at a bad angle. I forgot about putting books underneath my iPad. I'm glad you're learning a lot through the books. That is honestly the best compliment, the videos. I don't recommend adding meringue powder to this. Let me see if I can check. Hello in Canada and the Pacific Northwest. My eggs were room temperature today. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like the macaron cake. So I'm just doing white, mixing it on the lowest speed still. Let me get up to speed here. Yay, Paula, I'm so happy. Sometimes we're a little hectic with the lives, but I'm happy that it helps in any way. Yeah, I'll talk more about the cornstarch and the egg white powder in a second when this isn't on. Sweet and sour chick, thank you. I appreciate that. It makes me incredibly happy to hear that. So it's getting a little bit of a soft peak here. I meant to turn it off so I could show you guys for a second. Not even quite a soft peak because it's not holding any type of peak. Still second speed. I'm so glad you're here. When using a hand mixer, if you guys can hear me, always move it around your bowl. You don't want to get just the middle of your egg white stiff and then the rest kind of be liquidy and soupy. Oh, thank you. I'm glad you like that. Hi, Yuki. Hi, Abigail. We're almost there, guys. Sorry about this. Oh, trust me. I appreciate that compliment, but they're not perfect all the time. I promise you. Katie, I'm happy to hear that. Hi, Amanda. I need to read that one. Almost there. I'll show you guys where we're at. I wouldn't say that the hand mixer is better. We need a little bit further. It's pretty stiff, but I want to go a little bit further. I wouldn't say the hand mixer is better. It's just better for smaller batches. I'm on 3. I got impatient. This is where you want to be. See how it's sticking straight now and not having that down? I don't know if I can. It sticks straight up, nice and stiff. And someone asked about stiffness of like having a nice sturdy shell and full shells. I have to say that I always, like 98% of the time, I have a gap in between my shell and the meat of my cookie. But that doesn't mean that it's not really full inside. There's just a little gap, be it the environment, be it my equipment, or my technique. I don't get a super full all the way to the top shell all the time. I'm gonna put in my dries, okay? Let me get a book so I can kind of tilt you guys down. But I am a firm believer that when you have a very stiff meringue, it's going to aid in a very sturdy shell. So I feel like those are directly proportional. Nice sturdy meringue, nice sturdy shell. And I haven't noticed going slower when mixing. Like I know that's a really popular method, and if you don't get full shells and you do reach a really high speed when mixing your meringue, maybe try a little bit lower, because I know a ton of people have better luck when they don't mix fast at the end. So you could try that. Someone said something about Enid laughing at her. And my kids, I'm in class. Eni, I love it. I know. Honestly, I haven't even been out of my pajamas for like 3 days, so this has forced me to get ready today, and I feel like a whole new woman. You know, like these times are very rare that I get out of my pajamas, so it feels good to be able to even just talk to you guys in the live chat. Gives me something to look forward to. And my kids are locked in their room. My mom is with them, so finishing school today. I didn't want to do it yesterday and interrupt the inauguration, because that was fun for those Americans watching. Definitely shed some tears yesterday. Okay, so I am putting in my dries, and I am mixing, seems like a lot of dries today. I am mixing them in, but not purposefully deflating at this point. So I'm just kind of patting that in. Oh, thank you. Is it sorry? Sorry? Thank you. I was saying I was freezing, and now I'm like sweating, of course. I sifted this already, and it has lumped up, probably because it's really humid today. So hopefully I don't have too many lumps in my batter. I probably, if I wasn't live, would do it again. Sift again. All right. Oh, thank you. Yes. No more compliments. I'm very awkward with compliments, but thank you. Okay, so mixing it in. Oh, I should have mixed in with the mixer. Darn it. Either way, you could mix in a little bit with the hand mixer as well, and then finish it off by hand if you struggle at all with like carpal tunnel or anything. I feel like it's been really helping me when I have my bigger batches and I'm in my KitchenAid. I've been loving it. So I'm excited that Karen from Macaron suggested it again, because I hadn't done it for like a year, and I'm feeling good about it now. Okay, so here we go. We have all of our dries incorporated. Let me try to do this. But it's still really thick. It's not molten lava-y at all. It is staying put. You know, it's not like melding into itself one bit. So now we're gonna start deflating. The reason why I like to be pretty careful when I'm mixing in the batter is just so I have complete control at this point, and I don't have to worry about getting too deflated before I have all the dries mixed in. That's one thing that you have to be careful with when you are mixing in your mixer, is sometimes you can get a little bit more clumps, and then you're like, oh, I don't have as much time to smooth that baby out. So I'm just pushing push against, like, up the bowl side, and then I go around itself, and then underneath just to make sure nothing's sticking down there and getting pushed down every single time. You don't want to keep working one spot, right? So push around, and then every other one get underneath it. And quarter turns with my bowl. All right, let's see where we're at, just to get an idea. It's looking pretty good. I'm gonna fuss with it a little bit with a toothpick when I'm adding these marbled colors in, so I think I might stop pretty soon. I wish my counters weren't so tall. A little bit more, and then we'll be good. Okay, let's put some marble colors in. There we go. That's good. I left a tiny bit of room for my toothpick nonsense coming up. And then we'll pipe some hearts. I'm going to do the smaller hearts first this time. So I think one of the lives I did really big something. Big macarons maybe? Anyways, we had to wait for them to bake. So I learned my lesson. Let's do a little bit of purple. Let's see if we got any in here. Oh, we did. Okay, 1 drop purple. Shake those puppies before you put them in, because if you haven't used them for a while, got a little piece of the color in. If you haven't used them for a while, they will separate sometimes, and you don't want all that liquid to hit it first. A little dollop of red. I'm wondering, Courtney, oh, thank you. I'm wondering if the red will just look like pink because I'm not doing a ton of it, so we'll see. Courtney, thank you so much. You've been so supportive. Had to join late. Well, I'm so happy you're here. Grab that toothpick. And we're just going to smear it around. Okay? Just to create a little bit of a marble look. And again, I've seen this on Jaslyn, Sugarholic Girl. She has done this before, and Sugar Bean, who has just taken over YouTube. She has just, everything looks perfect that she does. Okay, so I think that's probably good. Just a little purple. Let's do a little bit of the red. Okay, and then I'm going to do the pink. This will get more mixed up as I put it in my piping bag and stuff, so. The quintessential, is that the right word? Valentine's colors. The one color I usually always have with this is teal, but I'm trying to do something different. The pink and white and pink, I mean the pink and red always look so pretty together. Okay, so I'll show you guys. Creepy. Okay, my hand's still wet. So here we go. Ingrid, thank you. Let me read that. Here's what it looks like. It doesn't look like anything significant, but hopefully when we pipe it, it'll look nice. I'm gonna put these into 2 different piping bags, and then we will go on. Try to keep them separate. gonna focus more on my big tip because I feel like it can be versatile if you use it properly. So we'll try to showcase that. Can you use any French macaron recipe and make it the Swiss method? I have tried. Great question, Ingrid. Yes, you can definitely do that. It doesn't change. It's just going to help dissolve that sugar and, in theory, make the Swiss preparation. Let me try. Makes it a little bit stronger or sturdier of a meringue. So yes, I would take any French method recipe and switch it without thinking too much. If I could stop stuttering, maybe you guys would understand me. Did that make sense? Okay, good. Thank you so much. You're so sweet. Okay, my friends, we've got our marbled colors in our bags. Here, Ingy, Ingy, I was putting Ingrid with Eni. I will address your question now. So this is a 9mm tip, and you guys might have seen my video already. I'm gonna do these last, actually. I said I'd do it last. I get excited. So I'm gonna do it for here. These 2-inch macaron hearts first, and on the same tray, because they're not too much different, I'll also do the smaller 1.5-inch ones. So that's gonna happen on one of these trays. If you have a blue drop, I always say it wrong, blue drop mat, it already has these little hearts, this heart template, and those are the same as the template I sent out in the newsletter. So those match up perfectly. And they will work. Let me see if I can get you guys. Okay. So we're gonna do the smallest ones here. Let's see if I can get you guys at a good angle. My apologies. I don't think. Okay. Sorry about the keyboard. But I'm gonna go, is this a good, do you like a different angle or is this okay? I feel like it's kind of skewed. Let's go like this. Okay. All right. So this is the 9mm tip. Even a big tip can do these, or if you have this, it will match up just fine. Okay, so I'll show you the templates. You're just gonna go from one top of your macaron to the bottom and drag it down, and do the same over here. So you're gonna meet the two, and it's gonna make a heart. But the thing you need to worry about if you have a huge tip like this is that it's going to be, how the hell are you gonna pull this? It's going to need to be less batter coming out of your tip at the bottom. So if you bring it down, you just wanna make sure you kind of stop pushing too much batter out up here, and then you just bring the rest down, if that makes sense. And then you're gonna want your scribe, I'll do it closer, and then just fill it in. Don't worry if it doesn't fill it in completely, because you're using a fat tip, you're gonna have plenty of batter to play with and make sure that it pushes out to the edges of the template. Does that make sense? Let me show you guys where you can actually see. So maybe this one's closer and you can see better. So you're just going to, I started too soon. Okay, stop pushing, but bring the tip down still to the very edge. Go to the other heart, the top of the heart, bring it down, and then stop. It doesn't have to look perfect. Like I said, these don't look nice right now. This one does, right? This one looks good. These are gonna like drop down. So who knows if these will turn out, but I'm just trying to show you guys that. It doesn't look nice at first, but this is your ticket where it's gonna be nice. Whereas the spatula, you mean this little guy, the scribe? My scribe is from Jaslyn from Sugarholic Girl. She made this for me, if that's what you're asking for. I saw on your, yeah. So you can, your scribe is gonna be your best friend for hearts. So if you don't like this method, then you can use a smaller tip, and I'll show you guys how to do that for these smaller hearts. But that was a pretty big tip, and you can still make these small hearts with that. And then I personally don't, like I said, I don't like a crunchy macaron, but if you don't mind like a nice little added texture, you can drag that tip down to make more of that sharp tip of the macaron. All right, let me show you guys. So they're not super smooth at this point, but they will level out a little bit once they rest. Hi. So that's this size. Let me give you the 6mm size tip. I wish I knew, because I know most of you guys use Wilton. I wish I knew the equivalent, but it's, if you take a ruler, you know, it's just 6mm across. So if you have this, you can do more of a outline. And what I say in my videos is that you want to protect the V. So can you see these things when I'm doing it? But they are on your storefront, right? What is it? Let's see. My regular spatulas are on my storefront, yeah. So let me show you guys if you can see this. I wish I had a better angle for you guys. So outlining, stop piping, and kind of bring the tip to the edge of the very lowest part of your heart, and then start pipe pressure again, and then bring in to the middle. But you always want to exaggerate your V, because you're going to be able to kind of push it out to fill that in. And this is going to give you also a different look of that batter. The way that it lays is different from when you just do a single squeeze. If you do the outline and fill in, it gives it just a different pattern. So the way you pipe, not only, you know, it's whatever you prefer, but it is kind of cool that it also shows you a different look of the batter if you do multicolored hearts. He's looking like tie-dye. I've seen some people, which I find it super awesome. Let's see if I can do it. So I'm just gonna put even more pressure as I do this. See if you can see here. I'm gonna put more pressure and just kind of fill in the whole thing, go down, and then go up, and then down. So, man, you can't really see. But that's a really cool way of doing it too, where you're just, no matter how big your tip is, you can just apply like you're doing a regular circle, and then bring it down to the tip, bring it up to the top, and then finish it off in the middle. And always, you know, your scribe is your best friend, and you can kind of just push it out to the edges if you didn't get all the way there, and even it out. And that makes a nice V. I don't love the outline look. I didn't get a very nice V with how small these ones are. So Romina, I will send out the templates again. Yeah, I'll make sure to do that. Okay, so here's those. How are you guys feeling? Can you even see how I'm piping? It's hard to explain, but as you're piping, you really want to be super slow on the pressure. Okay, cool. And just, you know, if you're doing the push and fill in, you just want to make sure that you stop pressure once you get to the bottom, because you're gonna have, you just want it to be like a tiny little indent, right? So you just want to stop pressure and then finish off the heart bottom and then go back up to the top. Yeah, okay. So that's these small ones. And honestly, I feel like using a bigger tip for these small ones and just going down, down is one of the easier ways for me. But you're taking a lot of time to use your scribe. So if you want to take the time to do a little bit longer pipe style, then you can do that last one that I showed you. It takes a little bit longer piping, but I feel like you don't have to move around the batter too much after. So this one almost seems like the easiest to me with the smaller piping tip, and just kind of filling in, bringing down, going up, and filling in the middle. And kind of just touching it a little bit. Okay, so these are the 1.5 inch hearts. This one got super fatty. And now let's do the 2 inch ones. I feel like are an awkward size where you can't really use the whole. Let's try. Let's see if we can use what we used last. Filling up this whole area, bringing down, and then coming up, and then, yeah, I guess it does work. I think Helen from Deeport Sweets, she showed on her video this way, and I thought her hearts were really pretty. So that's a good way to do that, and that's with my 9mm tip. I think on one of my videos recently, I have these sizes, and I did more of an outline. Trying to make sure I'm not blocking you guys. So when you do the outline, just remember, stay a little bit in from awkward position, big V, and then fill in. And make sure it doesn't get too thin. It's looking blue now. I don't want that blue. Too much marbling. That was an awkward position I was in, so it didn't look very nice. But if you stay a tiny bit within the template line, then you can kind of push it out even with your batter. You kind of push it out as you fill it in. Okay? So it's really up to you. This one looks awful though. Like, just, let me try that again. I'm trying not to completely not have enough space for everything. Okay. Started on the other side. Alrighty. So those are the different ways. It really is just a personal preference and how you guys like to do them, and then it's a size thing. If you are doing a super small one, figuring out if you prefer a small tip or a big tip, and then going from there on how you prefer to pipe. But I'm liking this push and fill and come down and then up and around. but when I'm trying all the different techniques, you know, once you try one, I don't recommend switching all of the time, because then you won't get really good at one way. So find your best, the way that you prefer, and stick with that. And let's do the big hearts now. Let me do a couple more of these little ones so I don't have a ton of space. Can't see those, can you? Unlike what I did, if you want to do different sizes on one mat, I recommend doing the smaller ones in the middle and the larger ones on the outsides, so that the smaller ones don't burn. I just used the template for that was on my silicone glue drop mat. I really don't like these colors. But it's definitely, if you don't get the perfect hearts, the scribe can really fix it. You just have to be careful not to use it too much, or else that's when we'll get our lopsided max, because we're going to be ruining the feet if you mess the batter up too much. Alright. Pound this guy out. I'm going to let these dry and we'll do big hearts. Any tips, thoughts on enrobing finished macarons in chocolate? Zoe, I have never done that, but that would be amazing. Yeah, I think that would be amazing, especially if you have like an enrobing machine and you could knock that stuff out. But if you don't, that's a lot of work to temper your chocolate and do that. So it definitely would have to be worth your money. But I think it would be so tasty. I get pimples when I have chocolate, so this is from the Devil's Food Cake. But I know that it's hard to stay away. Okay, here's our big hearts. I really prefer just using a big tip for these. I don't feel as comfortable with a small tip because my macarons turn out so thin. So you start from the top and just outline it like we did previously. Let your batter fall down so it makes sure that it's equal amounts. It's using your whole tip, so it's like a 9mm round that's going all the way around, right? And then go down so you have that V, and then you're filling in, just go like you're flooding a sugar cookie and kind of fill in the whole thing. So you have that, and then all you have to do is kind of make sure you don't have any big air pockets in between your layers or in between your circling, and just kind of spread out that batter so it's not too indented, like so you can see exactly the lines that you piped. And again, this is a personal preference. I've seen some amazing, beautiful hearts that have like a really deep tip, and you can tell they're super crunchy, but they just look so sexy. So you could definitely do that if you don't like the more rounded heart look. There are so many templates. I have this template I used a few years ago. I don't know where it went. I thought I had it. Well, I have another template and it's more of a more exaggerated tip at the end, and that looks really pretty. Crunchy and sexy. I know, my words are beautiful, right? I just think of the best descriptive words. Okay, so make sure that if you aren't using this template and you make your own, just make sure you have enough space in between your shapes so that you're not going to have them touch if they spread at all. Does that make sense? Because if there's not good airflow in between them, you're not going to develop feet, and I feel like it's already hard to get really nice feet on these heart macarons, because if you fuss with them so much, the feet kind of go away, and it's always sad. But yeah, so when you're drying these, they take a little bit longer to dry because this right here, the crevice, is not going to, hi Susan, the crevice here is not going to get airflow as well, so it takes a little bit longer for that to dry. So just beware that if you touch here, you'll be like, oh, it's dry, and you pop it in, and then you end up getting this crack here because that part wasn't dry yet. And that's what I see on a lot of hearts, is that they tend to crack up here where it's vulnerable when it's not dried yet. Okay, I'll do one more big heart. I guess I didn't need the whole big tray for this one. I'm gonna turn my oven on for that first tray that I did. So on this one, we've got some pretty ones, we got some uglier ones, but they're all fun in different shapes and sizes. They're not dry yet, but I'm just gonna preheat my oven. Okay, I will read your comments in a second. I'm sorry, I got behind on those. Let me do one more of these bad boys, and then I've got my small tip that I need to do something with. You know, if you're used to working with royal icing, and you kind of know, like, you stop putting pressure sometimes, but you make some sort of movement with your hand that's going to stop your batter. And that's what I do at the tips. I stop piping and then kind of pat it down so it stays put, and then I move up. So it's hard to explain, but it's definitely a way to make sure that your tip stays down as you go up. Alright, so I do recommend using your scribe, especially if you're in a dry environment. Use your scribe like right after one or two that you pipe, so they don't dry out too much before you get to the point where you are ready to use your scribe, and then you get all these lines. Like these have evened out pretty well. This one's just a little bumpy still, but it will with time even out. Okay, here's my smaller my smaller tip, my 6mm tip. I'm gonna just put more pressure as I go around. Because it's a smaller tip, this is what's happening. It is pressing all the colors together. So it's very interesting. It is not keeping the colors separate as much. It's pressing them together and making them into blue macarons. So the colors aren't marbling as well. They are melding and mixing more. Something to think about. You guys are probably like, yeah, of course, Nicole. These things, you know. I have to learn by doing. And I don't think I've done multicolored hearts before, so I'm learning. But in order to not get too thin of a heart, I was just pressing really hard and piping slowly so enough would come out to make sure that it would be about the same. See how it's about the same height coming off my tray as the one with the bigger tip? That's important to me. You might like a thin macaron. So totally, again, preference. Your macs are getting so hard at the bottom. Do you have any suggestion why? I think a 9mm tip is close to a, I think it's close to a Wilton 12. I might have some Wilton ones. Let's see if I can do this. This might be a problem. I might have some Wilton that I'll check in a second. I'm just sort of trying to get all the batter out. Haphazard filling. We'll see how this one turns out. It like broke here, so let's see if that affects the way that it comes out. Boop, boop, boop. There. Let's remember that this was just like randomly filled in and see how the end result is. When I'm piping at this weird angle too, I don't even know if I'm in the template lines or not over there, but we'll see. All right, let's pound this bad boy out, and I'm gonna answer your questions and we can move on. I'm gonna pipe a couple on that tray that is gonna go first in the oven. I just wanna see if a lot of people have been doing no resting lately, and I haven't been able to. So I wanna just double check if maybe I could do a no rest and just pipe a few fresh ones on the tray that we'll go into. As my oven is preheated. Okay. Take out your templates, especially if they're paper. If you make your own template and it's on parchment, not as necessary. All right, there's our hearts. Oh, here's the other one. This is from First Palette, so you might want to check out firstpalette.com if you prefer a little bit more of less rounded and more drastic V. This is a really nice template. Okay, I'm gonna read your guys' comments, sorry. We are almost there. So we'll go. They're not my best hearts. I just think about the pumpkin live that I did with you guys in the fall. Whenever I'm trying to explain myself and pipe, it gets a little wonky, but hopefully they will do the job. All right, so I'm just going to, this is all done, use the rest of my batter and pipe these, and they might crack, but I want to see if I can do it. Just randoms. Okay guys, I'm gonna read your guys' questions now. Sorry about that. Again, these were all deep. These were Chef Master and Americolor colors. Oh, I forgot. I've got some, I don't know if they need this. I feel like this would look better on a plain background, so I'm not going to use these. But maybe I'll try these nonpareils next time. Nonpareils. How do you even pronounce that? Me and my pronunciation. There we go. So I don't even know if I like how they marbled either. I'm not sure. We'll have to see after they bake. See if they're just way too busy or not. I like the ones from the bigger tip, but I don't like the smaller tip, how they turned out in a heart shape. I like them on the circles. If you guys can see the circles. Okay, I'm gonna put these in and then see if we are, they're still, I would probably rest a little bit longer if I wasn't on a live, but I wanna get them in so I can see if these crack like me crazy or whatnot. Because I feel like a lot of people don't have to rest theirs, and I don't want to rest mine if they don't have to. Okay, I'm like a 5-year-old's thinking pattern. Okay, they're going in. Turning it down to 275, and I'm gonna put it on 10 minutes and then flip. We'll see. I didn't check at what time I started resting those, so I don't know how long I rested, but I usually have to rest at least 25 minutes, or else my shells will get lopsided and they will crack since I moved here. Here we go. Let's answer some questions. Does the metal tip improve the piping? Let me get, I have a kit from Wilton, I think, and let me see if I have a 12 to give you guys some type of reference. This is super old, so yeah, it says Wilton. I thought it was a Teco or whatever the other brand is. I don't know if they're the same though. Like, this says Wilton 10. I don't know if you guys can see that. Here's a Wilton 12. Does that look about right for your Wilton? It's so tiny though. My tips came in this. I got it in pastry school. We just got, like, you know, star tips and circular tips, and they're in millimeters. So they're huge relative to these Wilton tips. So I'm not really sure if they are the same, if you can, like, here's my, it's dirty, but I think those are almost the same. Maybe it's a little bit bigger than a 12. Yeah, it's a little bit bigger than a 12, because these are, it goes in it a tiny bit. They're kissing. So I don't know if Wilton has something bigger than a 12, but I don't see anything different. Okay, sorry about my mumbling. I'm gonna read. The middle improve. Yeah, so Joseph, someone said, Paula said gives you better control, and I agree. You can also, if you have a coupler, which are these little things that I don't have in here, of course. If you have a coupler, it really is nice too if you're planning on doing different designs, because you can just switch out the tip size if you're, and you don't have to do a whole nother bag, if that makes sense. These are couplers. So you put this in your pastry bag, and then you put the tip on top, and then you kind of screw in the tip security wise, and then you can switch out this tip without even switching your bag, which is nice. Really handy when doing fine detail like buttercream work or anything like that too, because you can just switch to a different like star-shaped piping tip or whatever. Okay. I don't know yet, guys. It's only been 4 minutes, so I shouldn't have looked yet, but I did. My backs are getting so hard at the bottom, but can't even bite it. Wow. Okay, so is it Zelaha? Maybe? That could be over baking for sure, and they could be thin if you feel like you don't bake them too long. Maybe they're too thin, and you could definitely put some more batter and thicken them up a little bit, or bake less. Oh, and someone was asking about the meringue powder and cornstarch. Thank you for saying that. I want to touch on that really fast. Those are not necessary. I have recommended cornstarch to some. I haven't tried it myself, but I hear it will aid in a fuller shell. If you're super concerned about that full shell, it might be worth trying a little bit of cornstarch in your batter. Like mix it, I don't know, maybe with your dries. Maybe we should do that in another live. Cornstarch in general kind of brings things together, right? And like you use it for slurries, and it's almost like a quick pectin, but not really. I'm just trying to think of a good way to describe it. But so I feel like maybe it would bring together your insides, but it will also change the texture of your macaron. So it's really what you prioritize in your cookie. Do you want that light, delicate macaron-like thing, or do you want that full and maybe a little bit more meaty? That's not at all what I want to say, but there is something to a super full and maybe a little bit overbaked shell. It might taste a little overbaked. There, that might be it. It's a good way to describe it, where it's crunchier, has more substantialness to it. I'm gonna stop and move on. So, but meringue powder, I don't recommend. I know some people use it and they think it helps, so that's great. You could try it if you don't have access to egg white powder, but meringue powder has other ingredients in it. Egg white powder is 100% dried egg whites. Excuse me, meringue powder has more ingredients in it, more additives that could mess with your egg whites while they're whipping, and I don't mess with it. A Wilton 2A tip is bigger than the 12. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I don't know the way that Wilton does their tips, but that makes sense. I do have like a 2D or something, and it is bigger, and I have their 1M. So that makes sense. This is not a Wilton. There, their 1M is a lot taller than those smaller ones, yeah. Okay. Sandra, thank you so much. I have heard they don't taste very nice. Yeah, Paula, I have two. I didn't see the almond flour question, but, I mean the all-purpose question, but I do hear that it doesn't taste good, but then I've heard someone sing the praises of the cookie with all-purpose flour. So I was amazed that you even get feet and that it works the same with all-purpose flour, but it does apparently. So you could definitely try it if you need it to be nut-free, but I would really suggest pepita seeds or coconut flour before I would use AP flour. I'm finding it hard to get feet and full shells. Yes, Leah, that's like the kicker, right? That sweet spot. I find that I like doing the rosette macarons because this kind of tests exactly how far I can mix my batter and still get a full shell. So, you know, it's all about just redoing it and redoing it and redoing it and taking your batter a little bit further each time if you want to be super methodical about it. And yeah, it's just that constant, like, and one more extra stroke could be your answer of like why you have a little gap, right? So that's why I just don't stress about it. That's too much mental thought for me when I'm trying to release stress when I'm baking, you know. So it's really a preference, and you might want to count your strokes as you macaronage if you are going to really stress, and that's a priority for you to have those full shells. Hi Casey, Dora, hello. I'm sorry I'm behind you guys. Sandra, thank you so much. You guys are so sweet. I appreciate you guys being here and giving me something to get ready for, even though I put a hat on. My hair's usually up, so anyways. Can undermixed meringue or overmixed batter cause fragile tops? Okay, so Steffi, overmixed batter definitely can cause fragile tops and hollows for sure. I have like a whole bunch of cracking in there. Undermixed can cause cracking, but I haven't, when I have done undermixing, I haven't had some fragile tops in my experience. But you know, with these macarons, I feel like everyone has different experiences, so they leave us on our toes. Has anybody in this chat undermixed and gotten fragile tops? I feel like it's the overmixing that causes the fragile tops, and then you have a really fragile top and a super big gap between the meat and barely any bit. It gets like more moist, your batter does, so then your feet kind of go out, and that's where your batter goes instead of filling up your shell. I think I over macaronage. Oh, Enya, I want to know. Yeah, I hope it wasn't too bad. I have some cracks in here. I'm not wanting to turn it, but I'm gonna turn my tray. Does it change anything if you put the color in the first and then do macaronage? I'll get to that. I'm gonna put 9 more minutes on. I usually do 10 and 10, but because these are a little smaller, I'm gonna do a little less and see. My feet are non-existent now. Really, Dora, is this a thing that has been going on consistently or just today? Okay. Yeah. Let me see. The other day, my macarons had no feet. Yeah, so no feet can be a multitude of things. It could mean that your meringue wasn't stiff enough to really have that rise of your batter. It could mean that you undermixed your batter, and it can also mean that it was so wet or moist in your environment that it didn't dry and develop those feet, and then it just doesn't do much at all. It might break even. But if you didn't get any breakage, then I would think that it would be maybe your meringue wasn't sturdy enough. Okay, or your oven heat could be too low. No bottom. Okay, if you don't have any bottom and it's concave, I would say no feet, concave. You need to increase your oven temperature a little bit. Amanda, does it change anything if you put the color in the meringue first and then do the macaronage? No. So if you were, I'm sorry, I'm trying to process the question. If you were to put your coloring agent in your, while whipping your meringue, is that what you mean? That would be okay. You can add your coloring anytime. Just know that if you put your coloring into your egg whites, it will get aerated before it's like at a stiff peak, and it will just be a little bit less bright and vibrant of a color. So if I like to get like a base color, I'll put the color in the beginning as I'm whipping my egg whites. Once after my sugar, and then I'll get it nice and stiff, and then it's gonna be really aerated and lighter than I wanted. So then Sweet and Sour Chick, thank you so much. I'll look at your question or your answer with your statement. Gosh, guys, I get so nervous on these things. I'm shaking. I was talking about something. I wonder if when the pandemic ends, I will be able to hold a conversation with anyone. Okay, I don't remember what I was saying. Oh, the meringue. So if I put my color in the beginning, it gets aerated at the end, which is totally fine. It has a nice, beautiful base color, and then you can add a little bit more as you macaronage or at the end. So it just depends. If you want more of a marbling look, and then you can put it at the very end like I did today, but that was only to try to keep them separate, if that makes sense. Or you can completely separate your batters into two and then just use two different colors and put them together in your piping bag for a different marbling effect. Sweet and Sour Chick, thank you so much. Counting my folds. Oh, good. I'm glad that helped kind of click something into your head. Awesome. And thank you so much. You guys are so generous. When words come out, never mind. Am I doing macaron classes? Coming up. Don't be nervous. Dora, it's so hard. You know, I don't know. You'd think I would be used to it, and I still get very nervous. Like if I look back at my first vlog of like me introducing the channel, it gives me such an uncomfortable feeling. I don't recommend watching that video, but I'm getting better, I think. Oh, Susan, thank you. Okay, so macaron classes, Sue. Yes, I want to do a macaron class at the end of February, and I am trying to get all my ducks in a row. My husband has every other weekend off usually, but sometimes it switches, so I just want to make sure his schedule, and we don't get it all the time in advance. So once I figure that out, and I'm totally secure in a weekend that I can do it so he can watch the kiddos, I will do that. Well, selfishly, I love this. This is my only time to be Sans children during this time. Okay, guys. Do you have a method to quick dry Macs? You live in Hawaii. Okay, so that's a great question. When you're in a humid environment, I do hear a lot of people saying that they can't get their meringues to dry, their macaron shells to dry enough before it just kind of ruins your resting shells because it's too humid. If you don't have air conditioner or you don't have a heater, I don't think you'd want to be running a heater in Hawaii for the most part. Or if you don't have a dehumidifier, then you can try the sugar beans method of like putting it really low and drying them in the oven. Have you seen that? Is it Dobson? Have you seen that video of the sugar beans where she dries it in the oven? I saw she did like another one where if you have a gas and not convection stove, she didn't recommend it. So if you have, yeah, Romina, that's exactly what I was trying to remember. I tried it once on a live and it happened to work, but I haven't tried it again because I just got really nervous. So, and I have a gas stove and it worked, but usually when I preheat my oven, it is like super humid in my stove, so I'd be worried that it would cause too much condensation in my oven, but I don't know. I think she preheats it, talking in Fahrenheit, around 230, if I remember correctly. And then she takes them out after drying them for a couple minutes, maybe 5 minutes. Someone might remember, because I feel like you guys help me every time I'm trying to do someone else. Oh, bye, Eni. Yeah, I want to see the big, I want to see your results after. So good luck with the kiddos for the rest of the day. So for the sugar bean, I think it was about 5 minutes that she had them in drying, or 5 to 7, and then she takes them out, raises her oven temperature to the regular, like 300, and then puts them in, and that works. That's a lot of words, but did that make sense? Now I have found your first video. You're adorable. Oh my gosh, I shouldn't have mentioned it. Don't watch that. I don't think I make a cohesive sentence during that thing. Gosh. Thank you, Dora. You're so informative. I appreciate you. I honestly, it's fun to see familiar faces in the chats and comments on the videos and seeing your work on Instagram. So thank you so much. I have not, but I will check it out. Thank you so much. Yes, so check out the sugar bean. If anyone knows exactly what it's called, but it's one of her first initial videos, you could try that. And Dobson, do you have, what kind of oven do you have? Okay, so Bessie, she does the drying in her oven, she said, and it does help. And it takes 1.5 hours to dry at room temp. Wow. And how long do you dry in your oven? If it's 1.5 out at room temp, and then what is it? Convection. Then you could definitely do this method that the sugar bean does, and she just dry them in your oven. Definitely recommend her 10 minutes. Wow. So from 1.5 hours drying time out at room temp to 10 minutes. That's amazing. That's a huge game changer if you're doing production. That's awesome. Why do you flip the tray? So I flip my tray because of airflow. I don't have a convection oven. This oven isn't the best. You guys are gonna see this is an ugly tray. So I flip it for even airflow and even baking. Just gonna do like 30 more seconds, and then I'm gonna take them out. I have to try mine. It took 3 hours last week. Katie, wow. Are you in a super humid environment as well? I mean, I'm in a pretty rainy area too, but it says my dehumidifier has gotten it down to 44% in here, which I find anything around 54 and lower is great in my house. Anything 54% humidity and lower works well. I dislike my mom convection oven. Yeah, the fans can be so powerful that they make all your macarons lopsided, so it's hard to find that balance with home convection ovens. I agree. Oh my goodness, I can't imagine how long that would take because of the drying. Wow. Yeah, it's just not reasonable to wait that long, right? So I'm excited for you to try the oven drying. Okay. Here we go, guys. We got the cracks all on this side. So it might have been hot on this side of my oven, because the other side with the ones that I didn't rest, those ones are not cracked. So this might just have been a heat issue in my oven. So I didn't rest these bad boys, and they came out fine. Imagine that. Mind blown. These cookies, I tell ya. I mean, I'll just take the precautions probably, unless I was doing huge bulk orders, which I don't do orders anymore right now. So I think I'll stick to drying, but let's see what's on the inside too, because that might change. If it was fuller, because the longer you dry, sometimes the batter settles a little bit, and if they made it fuller, then maybe that would be a really good way to also lose that gap if people are worried about that. Every time I hear your oven go, I check mine, Abigail. And I feel like I missed, Amanda, you were saying, I don't know if you're still here, but you were talking about a school project. And did you ask a question with that? I forget. You were sharing something. I wanna hear more about that. Okay, let's see here. I think this is why I had no feet. I waited an hour. Yeah, Dora, they may have been maybe overmixed a little bit, so they were a little more moist and hard to dry. Or maybe the environment was really wet that day and they just didn't dry, and then, you know, they break down and they won't rise up. Rise up. Okay, how dry should the max be before baking? Yeah, Melinda, good question. They should definitely, if they'll have like a matte finish, but they'll still indent. Like they're not, I don't wait till they're super crusted over, just when they don't come off onto my finger. But again, when you're doing hearts, you want to make sure you check in here too. So check inside to make sure you don't get the cracking, because this is where it's going to crack. The V of the heart is where it's going to be weakest, and it's going to be more sensitive to cracking if it's not dry. And I say that after not resting a couple of macarons and them turning out okay. So now I want to do some hearts without resting them and see what happens. I let my oven cool off before I add a second tray. So I'm just going to let them rest. I might end this live and just show on my Instagram, if you guys have Instagram, the results of these ones, so I can let the kids out of the room. Ariba, hello. But I'll take a couple more questions and we can see. Let's see how we do. Did anyone try to come on a link that wasn't there anymore because my video didn't work and then get lost? Or is it pretty clear on how to find a new stream? I always get really upset when I have to start a new stream, and I'm not really sure what it looks like for those trying to hop on in, if it's easy enough to find when there's technical difficulties. Leah, thank you so much. They look great. Oh, I'm so happy. Thank you for being here, Leah. I really appreciate the support. Thank you. I'm happy to share and be able to have this time. I just got mine out and they look great. Yay, Abigail. Yeah, I don't know if the different ways I was piping is gonna mess people up because they're like, I don't know which way I'm gonna prefer, but hopefully it helped in some way of kind of solidifying which way you prefer and which way you feel more control for your preference. Then close the door and put. Okay, so oh, Amanda, awesome. Okay, sorry, I read it and then my brain moves on when I was trying to do the meringue, I think, and I didn't process it. So I'm so glad that's so sweet. Makes me kind of giddy that you would do that and share it with the class. It's fun. Okay, do you prefer, I joined late today but had no issues finding it. Yay! Okay, good. That makes me feel better, Zoe, thank you. Zoe? Is it Zoe or Zoe? I am trying the aluminum foil. Oh, I should have tried the aluminum foil. Dang it. That's a great idea. Abigail, are you on Instagram? If you are, you'll have to send me a picture. Dobson, thank you so much. Oh, honestly, nothing is fine, so that is so generous. That's more than generous is what I'm trying to say, so thank you. My max cook, I'm gonna put my second tray in. if I put in a tray right after that first tray, it always raises up, and apparently I'm already having a heat issue. I didn't look at the temperature, that was my bad, because that whole side of Max just went haywire. Okay, so those are in for sharing. I sent you a little support, but I didn't show. I don't know how to check either. Well, I appreciate you being here, and the questions and comments are so helpful. And is it Bia? So I haven't said your name because I don't know how to pronounce it. B? Is it just B? That's probably it, right? B. I wish I was. Okay. Hello, Mr. Garlic Man. Yes, B. Okay. Thank you, B. Even if it didn't work, which I can't tell right now, I really appreciate it. So, you guys are awesome. And this is my fun time too, so thank you. I wish. Okay, so Abigail, you don't have Instagram, but that's okay. If you think of it, you can email, or if you're on the Facebook chat group, you could put a picture in there. Oh, Macaron Maker, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Okay. Which macaron method is the least sweet? French, Swiss, or Italian? Jennifer, I feel like every person has a different answer to this. I find French less sweet, especially with this ratio that we use here, which is equal parts almond flour to confectioner sugar. But some French methods are way more confectioner sugar to almond flour in their ratio, which will yield a sweeter cookie. So it's definitely, each recipe will yield a different result, and you just have to find ones that have a little bit less sugar. Italian to me is super sweet, but if you pair it with something beautiful like a dark chocolate ganache, it evens it out, and put some salt in there, and it will be, I feel like you can make any shell a good pairing cookie without being too sweet, if that makes sense. Why am I having such a hard time today, guys? I literally just made macarons 2 hours ago. Did you do heart macarons? Why is my... okay, guys. A couple more... If I didn't answer your questions, will you ask again? What is the... Oh, so Sue asked what's the aluminum foil method. So we had... Oh, was her name Kara? I think it was Kara. So Kara or Kara. She is in the macaron discussion group, and she posted a picture, and she didn't have any mass left, so she piped onto aluminum foil, and they came out so full. They were a little lopsided, but it might have just been something with her oven, because there was one that was like perfect. So it was just so funny, because aluminum foil, yeah, it's a metal, so it's going to be a good conductor of heat, but it was her shells were completely full. So something to think about if you guys want to pipe on aluminum foil. No, they weren't heart shapes. Are you making them again right now? Oh gosh. Casey, thank you. What's your Instagram name so I can put you together with who you are? Let's see here. Thank you so much for your videos and tips. I really appreciate all the support, you guys. This is incredible. This is very kind. So generous. Thank you so much for the videos. Yes, anytime. I'm happy. I'm really hoping to get more edited videos out. I know that these lives, when you can't make them, are so hard to watch just because they're really long. They're better for people that are actually watching live because we can chat. But Goodness, you guys. Thank you, Bessie. Yeah, so really appreciate you guys tuning into these when you have the opportunity, and I hope to get more information out. And if you guys want, thank you, Dora. If you guys have a specific thing you want, maybe for an edited video, don't hesitate to, on my website, I don't utilize my website enough, but on my website there is a little section for inquiries, and you can put, I'd really like to see cornstarch being put into the batter and see how that affects your macaron in an edited video, something like that, and then I can work on those. Okay, guys, I'm so glad you're here. Let's see here. Every time someone sends you a payment, you blush. I'm just extremely, Paula, I just don't, I'm not very well versed in taking a compliment. I think that's it. So I'm trying. Okay. All right, guys, you are too kind. Let's see if I can take some of these things off. Some of these medium-sized hearts look really nice. Oh gosh, stop. Sweet and sour chick. Thank you. Let's end with something. So here's our heart. You guys, thank you. Katie, thank you very much. I honestly, having a positive environment really feeds into this, so I appreciate all of you guys, and thank you for your generous donations today. Thank you. You are children. Yes, tag me. Okay, Cena Max. I like hearing your Instagram handles so much because I don't always get notified when people tag me. So if I know it, I can go try to look for you. She's gonna respond to you. I can look for you and make sure that I see what you're doing. So here's the back side, and then we've got little feet, but they're all the way around, and then the hearts. So these were the little guys, and then here's like a one from the other template. It's kind of crooked right here, but look, it didn't even develop a little foot right here. But other than that, so this one is kind of lopsided, but the other ones are good. They just have a tiny little foot. And this right here, see how small that foot got? It's because I dragged my batter over where it was laying, and that's what happens when you drag your batter. So that's probably what happened here. I dragged my batter over where the piping went. And thank you, Kimmy. I love the unicorn. Those are those cool like sticker things, right? Thank you. So that's what happens when you drag that batter out, or if you don't have good airflow, that'll happen too. But I mean, they're not my favorite. The coloring. What do you guys think of the colors? Bye, sweet and sour chick. Thanks for being here. See you on the gram. Yes. If you're still here, is that your name on Instagram? I'll look for you. Okay. And then the bigger guys. This one I think is really pretty. I like this one, but I don't like this one as much. Okay. Got little feet, but they're feet. I'm just gonna break open this one that didn't rest and see where we're at with it. Oh, I crushed it. I'm too nervous. So there's a gap. I pushed it down a tiny bit here so you can't see it, but there is a gap. Try to lift it up so you guys can see. See if I can do it better on this one. There we go. More apparent. Look at that. So that's a pretty big gap. And that's without resting. They aren't fragile though. They're very sturdy shells because I drop it. So, not the sturdiest. Let's see. The heart has a gap too. Honestly though, this one isn't as bad. Like once that's filled, I wouldn't be mad at it. But the ones that didn't rest were a little bit big. All right, guys. Let me see how the Macs are doing, and I'll give you guys a look in the oven just before I leave, and then I can put on, once they mature, yeah, they'll be fine, right? Ooh, I'm gonna try to give you a quick look at the ones baking. They're halfway done, and then I'll post on Instagram and Facebook whenever, oops, I turned the oven up. Okay, and then I'll let you guys all go, and I really appreciate you all today. I appreciate you every day, and I really appreciate the generous donations. So here are these bad boys. They had really nice feet on the indent with the V, and then I'll look more closely. I just don't want the oven open for too long, but I'll look more closely at how the feet developed for the one that we kind of just plopped all the extras in, and I'll let you guys know. Are you able to read the live chat after the videos? Great question. I don't know. So, do you guys know? Anyone else tried to look at the, I think you can. I wish I had a pencil, because I do want to check out. Yes, someone said yes. Okay, so yeah, we can. And Paula said yes too. Okay, so that's good, because I want to double check some names. Please share if you'd like, before I end the chat, your Instagram handle if you have it. Or if you tried to join my Facebook group, the pastry discussion group, and I rejected you, I said deny, it's just because you didn't answer the questions. It's nothing personal. Just answer the questions and try to get back in. I just want to make sure people are real people, and that's why I have those questions for people to look through, to answer. Okay, much love, you guys. Yeah, it's a super sticker. Kimmy, that is, I honestly think it is the most generous thing ever, and I appreciate you being here, so thank you. When you enable it, yes, unless the owner is trying. Okay, so I thank you for your videos. Yes. Is it Sarah? I hope you do. Totally. Start that home bakery. You got this. It is a lot of work, but it's so fulfilling to make each step and just kind of get through things. Okay. All right, my friends. Yeah. All right. And if you are subscribed to my newsletter, I'll do a rundown of what happened here and kind of give more details of that. I don't know what I'm saying. Okay, I'll talk to you guys later. You're amazing. Thank you. Have a good evening. You too. Casey C, did you share your Instagram handle? Thanks for, or if you don't want to, that's fine too. You don't have to. I understand that. Bye, Paula. Bye, Nina. Good night from London. Yeah, I bet it's getting late there. You're 8 hours ahead, right? Okay. Bye, Michelle. Thanks for being here, you guys. And I'll see you in 2 weeks when we go live again. Of course, Maya. Thank you. Oh, okay. Perfect. I love being able to put them together. So, we've had a class together. You were in the gingerbread class. I don't always put things together well, so thank you. Okay, bye, Sue. Bye. Leah. These Sweets by Leah. Okay, awesome. Yay, CFO license. I love it. Keep living out those dreams, my friends. Yeah, I'll see you guys soon. Bye. Pretty squirrel. Bye, you guys. I can't figure out how to stop it.